Hello, dear listeners. They've been guests in our homes for years, familiar faces that have brightened countless mornings. Kelly Ripa and Consuelos, the beloved duo who rule the world of daytime television with charm, laughter, and a chemistry that feels both effortless and magnetic. We've laughed with them, admired their banter, and marveled at the energy they bring to every broadcast. On screen, they've always been the picture of partnership. Playful, loving, endlessly in sync. Together, they represent the dream couple. Two people whose bond seems unshakable, whose smiles always come easy. But what happens when the carefully crafted rhythm of television meets the raw pulse of real emotion? When laughter fades, and what's left is something utterly human, vulnerable, unscripted, and profoundly real. This is the story of the day when Kelly Ripa and Consuelos let their guard down, live, on air, and showed the world what true love, empathy, and emotional honesty look like. For years, the duo has been more than co-hosts. They've been symbols of genuine affection and teamwork. Kelly, with her quick wit and luminous energy, and Mark, with his grounded calm and quiet confidence, have shared not just the set, but a life built on love, laughter, and loyalty. They've talked about their family, their challenges, and their triumphs, weaving real-life moments into the fabric of their show. Every morning, audiences tuned in not just for entertainment, but for connection. Their rapport felt like an open window into a marriage built on mutual respect. Yet, even in relationships that appear perfect, there are layers unseen, emotions waiting for the right moment to surface. In the days leading up to one unforgettable broadcast, something subtle began to shift. Kelly, usually radiant and overflowing with laughter, seemed a touch more pensive. Her humor was still there, but behind it flickered a quiet gravity. Mark, ever observant, seemed to sense it too. A glance, a pause, the kind of unspoken communication that only longtime partners understand. And then, that morning arrived. It began like any other. Lights, cameras, music, and cheerful chatter. The audience clapped, the jokes flowed, and the air buzzed with the familiar warmth of their energy. But as the segment unfolded, the conversation began to drift into more personal waters. Kelly's tone softened, her laughter faded, and a heavy stillness settled over the studio. Then something remarkable happened. Kelly Ripa, with a trembling voice and steady eyes, began to share something deeply personal. It wasn't a gossip headline or a Hollywood confession. It was something much more human, a truth she had carried quietly, now laid bare before millions. She spoke about vulnerability, about the pressures of always being on, about the weight of expectations that come with fame, family, and constant public scrutiny. She spoke not as a television star, but as a woman, a wife, a mother, someone who had faced struggles quietly behind the laughter. As her words unfolded, you could feel the shift in the room. The studio audience grew silent. Mark's easy smile faded, replaced by an expression of deep empathy and concern. Every word Kelly spoke hit with the raw power of truth, unfiltered and real. And then, it happened. Consuelos, the man who so often stood beside her as her anchor, could no longer hold back his emotions. His eyes filled with tears. He leaned closer to her, his voice barely steady, as he told her how proud he was, how much he admired her courage, her honesty, her heart. For a moment, the entire world stopped watching two television hosts and instead saw two souls, deeply connected, navigating love and truth in real time. It was a moment of pure humanity, and it resonated everywhere. Fans at home flooded social media with messages of love and support. They weren't just witnessing entertainment, they were witnessing authenticity. Messages poured in from people who had faced similar struggles, thanking Kelly for her bravery and Mark for his openness.
That day reminded everyone watching that no matter how polished someone's life may seem, we all have moments that bring us to our knees. And sometimes those moments don't break us, they reveal who we really are. In the days following the broadcast, clips of that heartfelt moment spread across the internet. Millions viewed it, replaying Mark's tears, Kelly's trembling smile, and the unspoken understanding between them. People saw not a celebrity couple, but partners who had weathered storms together and emerged stronger. Mark later spoke about how seeing his wife share something so personal struck him deeply. He said it reminded him that even in love as enduring as theirs, it's vital to keep listening, to keep being present, because vulnerability is not weakness, it's the foundation of intimacy. Kelly, ever gracious, reminded viewers that emotions are meant to be felt, not hidden. She said that allowing yourself to feel is what keeps you human, what keeps you connected. Her openness gave countless others permission to embrace their own feelings, to be softer, more forgiving, both with themselves and the people they love. That single broadcast became more than television. It became a mirror. It showed us that strength isn't about perfection, it's about honesty. That love isn't about constant laughter, it's about being there when laughter fades. For Kelly and Mark, that day changed something. It deepened an already strong bond. It reaffirmed their commitment to authenticity, to showing the world that even under the bright lights, they are simply two people doing their best to love each other through every season of life. Their moment of vulnerability will be remembered not because it was dramatic, but because it was real. It reminded millions that love thrives, not in the absence of pain, but in the willingness to share it. And maybe that's what makes Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos so magnetic. Beneath the glamour, the cameras, and the applause, they remind us that relationships are built not on perfection, but on truth. That tears can be just as beautiful as laughter. That real connection is found in openness. As we think about their story, we're reminded of the power of showing up, emotionally, honestly, without a script. Because when we do, we don't just connect with others, we reconnect with ourselves. So let this be a gentle reminder. Never underestimate the strength in your softness. Never fear expressing what's real. Love deeply, forgive often, and when the moment comes to be vulnerable, embrace it, because that's where the truest kind of love lives. Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos showed the world that day that vulnerability isn't the opposite of strength, it is strength. And through their honesty, they reminded us all that even behind the brightest smiles, the most powerful stories are the ones born from the heart.